Some years of the Ford F-150 are going to cost you thousands in repairs that other model years never see. If you're shopping for a used truck and picked the wrong year, you're about to experience engine failures, transmission nightmares, and rust problems that will drain your bank account. While most F-150s are reliable workhorses, these 5 specific years are loaded with defects that make them the worst investments you could possibly make. Number 5. 2010 Ford F-150. Right at the tail end of the 11th generation, the 2010 F-150 is hiding problems that most buyers won't discover until it's too late. This model year sits in that dangerous sweet spot where trucks look relatively modern but are packing outdated technology that's starting to fail. The 5.4-liter Triton V8 remains the primary culprit here. Imagine pulling up to a job site on a cold morning, turning the key, and hearing a grinding rattle that sounds like marbles in a blender. That's the cam phaser problem announcing itself, and it's the warning sign of impending timing chain damage that can destroy the entire engine. When these phasers fail, you're witnessing metal-on-metal contact that sends shrapnel through your oil system. Spark plug ejection is another nightmare scenario with this power plant. Picture scheduling what should be routine maintenance, only to have your mechanic call and explain that the spark plugs broke during removal and are now embedded in the cylinder head. What should be a $200 service can suddenly become a $2,000 ordeal, requiring specialized extraction tools and possibly new cylinder heads. The 6-speed automatic in 2010 models is experiencing premature torque converter failures, often before hitting 100,000 miles. You'll notice shuddering during acceleration, harsh shifts between gears, and eventually complete transmission failure. Replacement costs easily exceed $3,000. Rust issues are accelerating too, particularly around the rear cab corners and bed mounts. If you're in the salt belt, this F-150 is going to develop structural problems that compromise both safety and resale value. But if you think 2010 is bad, wait until you see what happens when you go back to the year that started all these problems. Number 4. 2004 Ford F-150. The first year of the 11th generation F-150 represents everything that can go wrong with a complete redesign. Ford rushed this truck to market, and buyers became unwitting test subjects for unproven technology and inadequate quality control. Engine problems dominate the complaint list for 2004 models. The 5.4-liter Triton V8 in this year is experiencing catastrophic failures related to the timing chain tensioners. These plastic guides are breaking apart, allowing the chain to skip teeth or completely separate. When that happens, you're looking at bent valves, destroyed pistons, and a repair bill that exceeds the truck's value. The chassis itself is showing fundamental design flaws. Think about hooking up your boat or trailer for a weekend trip, only to hear a sickening crack from underneath frame. Cracking near the rear axle is becoming widespread in 2004 F-150s, particularly in trucks that have seen towing or heavy hauling. Some frames have literally snapped in half while driving, creating situations where the bed separates from the cab. Electrical gremlins are everywhere in this model year. The body control module is failing at alarming rates, causing everything from non-functional power windows to complete electrical shutdowns. Dashboard gauges will stop working, lights will flash randomly, and you might find yourself unable to start the truck without warning. The fuel tank system presents another expensive headache. When your truck starts sputtering and dying randomly despite showing a half tank of fuel, you're experiencing the pump failure that's endemic to this year. Ford's design places the fuel pump inside the tank, which means accessing it requires dropping the entire fuel tank assembly. Those 2004 issues are serious, but the following year managed to make things even worse in ways you won't believe. Number 3. 2005 Ford F-150. You might think Ford would have fixed the issues from 2004, but the 2005 F-150 is proving that some problems just won't go away. In fact, certain issues are actually getting worse as these trucks age. The spark plug catastrophe reaches its peak in 2005. Ford's engineering team made a critical mistake with the spark plug thread design in the 5.4-liter and 4.6-liter engines. Picture cruising down the highway when suddenly you hear a loud pop, followed by hissing and a complete loss of power. That's a spark plug ejecting with enough force to damage the hood, and you're now facing a tow truck and a repair bill in the thousands. The 4-speed automatic is slipping between gears, particularly when transitioning from first to second under heavy throttle. The torque converter is developing shudder problems that make the truck feel like it's driving over rumble strips during acceleration. By the time you notice these symptoms, internal damage is already extensive. The rear differential is adding to the repair costs. Premature gear wear and bearing failures are common in 2005 F-150s with the 8.8-inch rear end. You'll hear whining noises during acceleration acceleration, clunking when changing direction, and eventually complete failure that leaves you stranded. Suspension components are wearing out faster than normal too. Ball joints, tie rods, and control arm bushings are failing well before their expected lifespan, creating loose steering and alignment issues that eat through tires. All these mid-2000s problems are terrible, but here's what really shocks people. The issues didn't stop there. Jump forward over a decade and you'll find problems that prove modern doesn't always mean better. Number 2. 2018 Ford F-150. This one surprises most people. A 2018 model should be relatively trouble-free, right? Wrong. This model year represents Ford's transition to the 10-speed automatic transmission, and it's been nothing short of disastrous for many owners. Imagine accelerating onto the highway, and instead of smooth power delivery, the truck lurches through gears like a student driver learning to use a manual. The transmission control module software is poorly calibrated, causing the truck to constantly hunt for the right gear. You'll feel abrupt shifts during normal driving, shuddering during low-speed acceleration, and delayed responses when you need power for passing or merging. Even more concerning, some 2018 models are experiencing complete transmission failures before reaching 50,000 miles. Internal clutch pack wear is accelerating beyond normal parameters, and when these components fail, you're facing a $5,000 repair on a truck that should still be reliable. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 in 2018 models is developing carbon buildup on the intake valves due to direct injection. This causes rough idle, misfires, and reduced power output. The only solution is manual cleaning, which requires removing the intake manifold and walnut blasting the valves, a labor-intensive process that costs over $1,000. The electronic throttle body is also failing prematurely. You're approaching an intersection when the traffic light turns yellow, so you accelerate to make it through safely, but instead of responding, the truck hesitates or surges unpredictably. Ford's drive-by-wire system means there's no mechanical backup when electronics fail. As bad as 2018 is, there's one year that combines the worst of everything. A perfect storm of mechanical nightmares that makes it the absolute worst F-150 you can buy. Number 1. 2006 Ford F-150. If there's one model year to avoid completely, it's the 2006 F-150. This truck combines every major problem from previous years with new issues that make it the worst investment you could possibly make. The 5.4-liter Triton V8 reaches its lowest point in 2006. Cam phaser failures are virtually guaranteed, creating that rattling noise that signals imminent engine damage. But unlike earlier years, 2006 models are also experiencing valve seat failures, where the hardened seats drop out of the cylinder heads. When this happens, the valve falls into the cylinder, destroying the piston and often cracking the block. This isn't a repair, it's a complete engine replacement that costs more than the truck is worth. The 6-speed automatic introduced this year is failing catastrophically, with hard part failures becoming common before 80,000 miles. The torque converter is coming apart internally, sending metal shavings through the transmission and destroying every internal component. When this happens, you can't rebuild it. You need a complete replacement unit costing upwards of $4,500. The electrical system is a complete disaster. Imagine leaving work on a winter evening, only to find your truck won't start because the alternator died and took the battery with it. Alternator failures are epidemic in 2006 F-150s, often taking out batteries and other electrical components when they fail. The smart charging system Ford implemented this year is poorly designed, causing voltage spikes that damage sensitive electronics throughout the truck. Rust and corrosion problems are accelerating faster than any other model year. The frame coating Ford used in 2006 is ineffective, allowing surface rust to penetrate quickly and spread throughout the structure. Bed mounts, cab corners, and rocker panels are disintegrating, particularly in regions where road salt is used. The fuel system adds another layer of problems. Fuel pump failures leave owners stranded without warning, and the evaporative emission system is developing leaks that trigger check engine lights and prevent passing emissions testing. The pattern is clear across all 5 of these years. Rushed engineering, cost-cutting measures, and unproven technology created F-150s that will cost you far more in repairs than you'll ever save on the purchase price. Whether it's the catastrophic engine failures in 2006, the frame cracks in 2004, or the transmission nightmares in 2018, these specific model years represent the worst decisions Ford made during the F-150's long history. And while it seems relatively normal to expect potential high-cost expenses in old trucks, the thing is that even the latest iteration comes with numerous issues. If you think the 2026 model would be flawless, it's not. And it brings 6 controversial changes that divide potential buyers right down the middle. High-performance versions that miss proper powertrain and off-road upgrades in variants that don't need them at all are just some of the updates that seem more than controversial.